Hello, hello! Welcome to Oddball Frequency, your number one source for a waste of time and electronic music. My name's Danny Connors, and I'm here with my co-host, Daniel. Hey, say hi. We got a great show. Pretty much we're going to be here for the next 3 hours, playing some electronic music, have some topics here and there, talking about the music industry, some shows we're going to go see. It's going to have a good time. Right now we're going to play The Prodigy, Thunder by The Prodigy. Enjoy. All right, hey, how's it going? Earlier songs that we played were Thunder by Prodigy. That was the very first song. Second song was Alpha Beta Gaga by Air. And the last song that we just played was Messages from Nowhere by Deadmau5. Now we're going to play a quick station shout-out by Bella D.
Hey, this is Bella D, and you are listening to 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair.
Is Dexter ill today?
Mr. Kirk, Dexter's in school.
I'm afraid he's not, Miss Fishmore. Dexter's truancy problem is way out of hand. The Baltimore County School Board have decided to expel Dexter from the entire public school system.
Mr. Kirk, I'm as upset as you to learn Dexter's truancy. But surely expulsion is not the answer.
I'm afraid expulsion is the only answer. It's the opinion of the entire staff that Dexter is criminally insane. Sane.
That boy needs therapy.
Psychosomatic.
That boy needs therapy.
Purely psychosomatic.
That boy needs therapy.
Lying down on the couch.
Well, what does that mean?
You're a nut. You're crazy in the coconut.
What does that mean?
That boy needs therapy.
I'm gonna kill you.
That boy needs therapy.
Granny Gazoo, let's have it, you. Now when I count three.
That boy needs therapy.
He was white as a sheet.
And he also made false teeth.
Avalanche is above. Business continues below.
Did I ever tell you the story about
Cowboys.
Midgets and the Indians and frontier psychiatry.
I felt strangely hypnotized.
I was in another world, the world of 20,000 girls. And
rectangles?
Doing optometrist. A man with a golden eyeball.
And tighten your buttocks.
Or juice on your chin.
I promised my girlfriend I'd
The violin.
frontier psychiatry. Frontier
psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy.
Purely psychosomatic.
That boy needs therapy.
Lying down on the couch.
What does that mean?
You're a nut. You're crazy in the coconut.
What does that mean?
That boy needs therapy.
I'm gonna kill you.
That boy needs therapy.
Granny Gazoo, let's have it, you. Now when I count three.
That boy needs therapy.
He was white as a sheet.
And he also made false teeth.
Can you think of anything that talks other than a person?
A bird?
Yeah. Sometimes a parrot talks.
WMSC listeners, this is entertainment correspondent Julia Siegel coming to you from the Montclair Film Festival. I just talked to Stephen Colbert and John Turturro on the red carpet of the In Conversation series with John Turturro. This is what they had to say. A couple quick questions, we can do this together.
Sure.
So what was the process of getting John Turturro here to talk to you, Mr. Colbert?
They said, would you like to talk to John Turturro? And I said, yes, anytime. I don't know what happened on his end, but that was the hard sell on my end.
Yes, and I did his show, and they asked me if I would come here, and I said yes. I had a really good time on the show.
Is this your first time here at Montclair?
Yes, it is. I think it is.
And now you've obviously been involved in the film festival since its inception.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be able to bring such people of high caliber here to talk to just the public?
Oh, I think it's great. When I was a kid growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, there was a arts festival they called the Spoleto Festival that came there. When I was 13 years old is when it started. It changed my life because I would go to all the events and I would see the artists and I would hear the interviews and I went to everything. And then I started volunteering and then I became extras in operas and I met Giancarlo Manotti and I ended up living with him over in Spoleto for the other festival over there. And then I got to meet professional actors and then I got cast in things and they were encouraging to me and my whole life changed because a festival like this came to my town.
Well, that's awesome, and it's obviously changing the community too, as it has become such a big part of Montclair now. So it's great to have your continuing involvement. Yeah. And John, also, I saw that you are going to be directing and starring in Going Places, a spin-off of The Big Lebowski, 20 years later. Why revisit that character?
A lot of people wanted me to revisit that character. So it actually was a character that I originated in a play. And then they took sort of the idea of that and put it in The Big Lebowski, and it just happened to fit in this other story. Yes.
Wow.
So it's a very. There were these Spanish plays that I had done at the Public Theater, and they were called La Puta Vida, and this bitch of a life. And I was in two of them, and one of them there was a character that was similar. It wasn't the same, but it inspired the Coen brothers, and people have been asking me and. On this particular project, it just seemed to fit, and I got their help to do that.
When can we expect to see Going Places to hit theaters?
Well, I'm just finishing it up now, so probably wouldn't be before. It'd be either next fall or next spring.
For WMSC, this is Julia Siegel.
Hey, how's it going? Once again, this is Oddball Frequency. My name's Danny, and I'm here with Daniel, my co-host. We were just going to talk a little bit about how the direction that electronic music is going in and where it has been going in. So I kind of wanted to start out by going over each decade from 80s onward.
Yeah, I mean,
I think 70s it was pretty much just Mort Garrison.
It was just him, Kraftwerk, and what's it called, Georgia Order.
Yeah,
and that's really.
And that kind of bled into the 80s as well. Who was the 80s? I was having trouble with trying to look up stuff.
It was still really just Kraftwerk.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And then some and yeah, I guess you could say like Devo and like a lot of new wave is influenced by
Madonna.
And then also of course Depeche Mode, of course.
Yeah, Depeche Mode.
Yeah, Depeche Mode. Still Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk were the 70s and 80s for electronic music.
It's weird.
They are the gods of the original.
There wasn't really a lot of songs or bands you could genreify as electronic music, not until the 90s.
But in the 80s, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that was using electronics, like, I mean, new wave, and like a lot of the pop music of the 80s was starting to use like more electronic-y stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then the 90s is when it obviously really kicked off. That's when Daft Punk made it mainstream. That's when Deadmau5, Chemical Brothers.
I mean, Deadmau5 wasn't really relevant until like a lot later.
He wasn't
so
relevant.
I mean, you could say
no.
So Daft Punk in like in the mid 90s, as well as I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people. And in the 90s, it was really
New
just
Order was in the
house.
80s. And then it was mainly house music was taking over the scene. House music, trance, Eurotrance, industrial.
Yeah.
It was a very psychedelic movement for
DJ
electronic
Shadow.
music. DJ Shadow, I wonder who's playing right now. This was 96?
96.
Yeah, 96. Cool.
21 years ago.
90s had a lot of really good electronic music and a lot of really just doesn't sit well. Like Eurotrance just doesn't do much for me. But obviously, if you watch this show at all, you know that Daniel and I are huge Daft Punk fans. You know that we like Deadmau5. I like Chemical Brothers. Who else from the 90s that you like? I don't know, anyone popping in your head?
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
There's one in my head. I just can't think of the name.
Cassius, he was awesome. I think Mr. Wazo.
Mr. Wazo was late 90s.
He was
99.
late 90s, but he didn't kick off until 2004. I think that's when Lamb's Anger came out. But yeah, and then the 2000s came around, and that's when
Aphex Twin.
Oh yeah,
Aphex,
oh my God,
Aphex Twin, yeah.
Massive Attack, they were big too.
Yeah.
Even though I can't get them into too much, there was a Mezzanine. That was a really good album, but that's the only one that I could try and get into. And then 2000s came. What's up?
I was just gonna say. I mean, like this album we're listening. Well, the song we're listening to right now is off of "Introducing" by DJ Shadow, which is one of my like top favorite albums of all time.
It's highly regarded as one of the best, if not the best, sample-based.
Also, just
electronic.
I mean, most
albums.
people consider like the best album of the '90s. So I mean,
it's also one of like. I can't, like, I know I'm going to have people yelling at me, but I can't think of an earlier all-sample, like, big, full-budget album. And this was his debut album.
I mean, it wasn't really
cool.
full budget. He did it in, like, if you actually look into, like, how he's doing it, it was actually, like, the recording for the song Mutual Slump, which the vocals were done by his wife. They did that, like,
I didn't know that.
He was in a, like, they would do a recording, like, this, like, attic. And like it was completely black. They would close it off, and then the studio was like right underneath it.
I mean, Homework was recorded in Tomas's basement, which I love. That makes me love the album.
That's why it's called house music.
Yeah, it's house music. It's just like,
but I mean,
where would you go? You don't need a. Yeah. And then the 2000s came around, and that's when
since
I
a
Left
lot
You came out. That's when Discovery.
Well, even besides that, when this was 2000s, were when electronic music went mainstream with like things
Big
like Darude's Sandstorm, which
I
mean Darude's like that album, and then also Cascada in the early days.
It's the epitome of Eurotrance. Yeah, Cascade.
Like there's like a lot of Europop that went like full electronic.
Yeah, we started to blend different countries together. Yeah. People started listening to a lot of European music.
I mean, because like Cascada and like every time we touch was like a massive hit.
I know.
As well as Darude's Sandstorm.
I
was a massive
forgot
hit.
about that song, and I want to forget about it right now. Okay,
no, it's great.
Moving on.
Not moving on. And then later on in the 2000s, we saw. Also, early 2000s, we saw people like Bonobo, Caravan Palace, Tycho, and then like Deadmau5, Daft Punk becoming super mainstream with Discovery, and then also Human After All.
Already.
Yeah, and then I mean, we can just like keep listening, people.
Justice.
I mean,
Justice.
Emancipator.
We could just name
everyone.
people on and on.
I could just go to my my top 50 songs list, and like most of them are started in 2000s.
Yeah. That's honestly like my favorite period for most electronic music. Like the
Air was actually late.
Air was 98, I think.
Yeah, they were 90s,
and then
they blended into the 2000s.
Yeah, Air's great. I was I played them before, but I played a song off their Talkie Walkie album, which was Alpha Beta Gaga. I don't remember when that album came out, but that's also a good album by them.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2000s was also a huge push for like disco influenced electronic music. House already was, but it was a little bit more industrial in the 90s. The 2000s is when it became a little bit more poppy, but it was just a resurgence of like disco themed electronic music. That's where Justice, Daft Punk, pretty much anyone from Ed Banger came from. All of Ed Banger.
Yeah.
Like fuels on French house and just disco. I mean, Breakbot. He's literally disco, but I love him. Okay, and then the 2010s come around, and that's when electronic music becomes a little too popular.
Hyper mainstream.
And it was pretty much the top genre.
That's when the biggest people. I mean, we're living it right now. Like, we have dubstep becoming popular in 2009 to 2011 with Skrillex.
Yeah, dubstep really changed the game.
And then
for better or worse, that's your decision.
There's like Ellie Goulding and then there's Calvin Harris,
Carly Rae Jepsen.
There's Avicii.
And then, there's Calvin Harris, Avicii, all those guys.
Yeah, but like also at the same time, there's been newer artists like Gesaffelstein, Roosevelt, and
the M Machine. I love
Mala. And Rez is also really good.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been coming out recently.
Electronic music just seems it just seemed to have been getting harder and harder, heavier. Get it as heavy as possible. And honestly, I like that. I mean, I like heavy electronic music, don't get me wrong, but when it was the only thing that was on the iTunes charts, it drove me nuts. I didn't listen to any new music coming out at the time. I had to go back like at least 5 years before I found something that I could enjoy that was in, iTunes top 40 or something like that. But yeah, I think it took a weird turn. It became a lot more, what was the word I used? It was glam. It was like glam pop, and it's mainly because Kanye West's Graduation came out in 2010, and that, Kanye West, he influenced a lot of artists early 2010s. Whether you like him or not, he was a huge inspiration for pop music, and he still is.
And modern popular electronic is really just pretty it's just
very
just
simple.
Pop. It's just pop.
It's either pop or it's just very simplistic.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how pop music works. It's simple and it's
without
repetitive.
Lyrics. Yeah, which it's kind of like going back to the 90s in a way, but a little bit less dancey. It's in a really weird hiatus right now. It's hard to explain.
It's really just 4 on the floors and then random drops. I mean, it's pretty cut and paste. I mean, that's just how pop music is, though. I mean, really.
It's hard to say. I don't want to just say that because
I mean,
you're just generalizing all music.
I mean,
that
but
comes out.
that's what pop music is. Pop
music.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, because electronic is pop music now.
Pretty much.
It's some random rappers and then pop music and then electronic. That's what pop music is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's Taylor Swift or whatever, but
yeah, it's all just. I work at FYE and we always have to listen to the top tracks in the Spotify playlist they give us, and it all sounds just a little too similar. And I hate to say that, and I should probably just go a little bit deeper into it, but I guess just from a general set of eyes, I don't see that much diversity in a lot of music coming out.
Well, if you're looking at the most popular musicians, and yeah, but at the same time, like I said, there's newer music artists that came out in 2014 or 2017.
Yeah.
Mala and Rez are both I think 2015. Roosevelt's 2015 or 2016.
Who do we see?
What?
A few months ago, Romero's
or late 2000s.
Really? My bad.
Yeah, but as I was saying, Rez, Mala, Roosevelt, and a few others have been coming out recently. Also, Gasalfa signed, but I mean, it's kind of hard to say him because he's been doing production for people for forever, but he hadn't done his own stuff until I think 2015 was his first year.
Yeah, I remember it.
But that's why his first album is one of the best produced albums that's ever been put out, because he's been doing it for he did producing for Kanye West and a bunch of people before, so.
Yeah, which definitely got his name out.
And with Mousetrap, there's a lot of new electro artists coming out.
I think
like Rez, I think her first stuff was either 2016 or 2015, and her stuff is really good.
A lot of music that I'm seeing nowadays that you could definitely deem as electronic is basically, it's an artist that'll start out as a hip-hop producer. They'll make hip-hop beats, and they'll do it for years, and then eventually they'll get their name out long enough, and they'll be allowed to make a studio album, and it'll be really good from what I've heard, like Flying Lotus and K Tornada.
Also, speaking of a group that actually just came out with their first album this year.
Who?
Bicep. Just actually a couple months ago, this year, Bicep, which were Anthony if anyone
I was gonna say, was
if
that
anyone
the one that
follows the needle drop, he did a review of Bicep. Bicep used to be they compiled really good music, but now they actually decided to work together to actually, because it's a label, they're a label for other people, but now the people who run it actually made their own album. So
yeah, exactly.
And that's actually it's also a really nice just pure housey album.
Yeah.
And it came out in 2017.
Music right now is if you're just a fan of music and you're just a listener, you're in the best spot that you could ever be in right now. If you like older music, you have access to it. If you like new music, access. If you want to listen to old bands that made music that sounded ahead of its time, that sounds new, you could do that. If you want to listen to new bands that make music that sounds old,
you can. If you want to listen on
made
CD,
a huge
you
resurgence.
Can.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to FLAC, you can.
If you want to just download music all for free, I'm not going to tell you to do that, but that is out there.
You can also just go on Pandora, or you can go on Spotify, just have a few ads, and then, or you can go on YouTube. I mean, YouTube is
$5 a month.
YouTube is still by far the most popular way people listen to music.
Yeah,
it has like 10 times the amount of users of like any other platform.
Yeah, and like, why not? That's just the way it should be.
And we're seeing like songs starting to hit like multiple songs hitting billion, and like there's a few songs hitting like 3 billion views on YouTube.
And they just get money off revenue. I mean, ad revenue. Yeah. And it's crazy.
Well, yeah. They get really good click rates. I mean, ad rates because it's by the music labels, so they don't have to care about. So I mean, because like these labels, because Vivo, if you know anything about Vivo, it's actually a lot of the biggest labels like Sony, whatever, like all the big like old labels got together and made Vivo so that they can have like a unified way of having music online. And that's why they have like really good ad rates on their videos, because like since they've been doing music for decades and decades, so they already have like connections with like all the advertisers.
Yeah.
So like when they come onto YouTube, they just tell YouTube and the advertisers,
like, hey, we're Vivo, just give us your best
Vivo
ads.
is people think that Vivo is like a platform. I mean, yes, it kind of is, but like it's really just all the major labels just got together and said
it's just sort of a publishing channel system.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's a shame though, because with Spotify and with the Spotify system, it works in the sense where the people who are popular, they're going to make more money than ever, and the bands who really don't get their name out there, they're not going to make any money.
That's how the world works.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably the way it's been for years. That's just the way it's been.
That's how anything works.
But I feel like that's just going to get bigger and bigger of a problem as time goes on, because it's just a dog-eat-dog world with Spotify. I don't know. Hard to explain. Yeah.
I think in the future we'll see more people like Gesaffelstein, or like I don't know how to say that name. It's just
we'll say Gesaffelstein.
Yeah, but
we'll just say that.
Yeah.
If Gesaffelstein, if you're listening, we're really sorry. Also, come on the show sometime. You're always welcome.
But I see more people like that. Like people who've just been producing for a long time, just deciding, hey, why don't we make our own album?
They decided to get the approval, which is great.
Bicep decided to do that. I mean, Gesaffelstein, a lot of people are doing that nowadays. So I mean, we might be seeing that more often.
Yeah, and they'll produce for such a long time. They'll get so many names out there. When their album comes out, they already have so many incredible guests and just connections that they have. Like Flying Lotus's, I think it was his second album. It was called You're Dead. It came out in 2015. They had Kendrick Lamar on that. For someone who only had 2 albums, that's a pretty big deal.
Also, I also see a lot of... We'll probably see more people, I mean, as it has been like since 1997, people trying to emulate more like Daft Punk style. So like with the release of Random Access Memories, we'll see probably a lot more people trying to go for more disco and also just like older genres, like and then like just
disco
having a lot of different like vocalists rather than because like we've been seeing that for a while, even like with like the original Gorillaz and also and like a lot of other stuff, but like I think it's going to become just more and more popular.
Unfortunately,
Random Access Memories.
Unfortunately, with the Gorillaz, they kind of they dug their own grave by playing their own game too hard, and they had too many guests on their latest album, which made it not even feel like a Gorillaz album. It just felt out my eye.
I don't.
It just felt like a compilation.
I really don't like their new album.
Their new album. I like it. I love the Gorillaz, but
I've never been too big a fan. I think their first album was pretty good, and then just been downhill since then. But their latest album, like, it just felt lazy and
it felt
generic.
So lazy. It's hard to say because in some ways it did feel lazy because a lot of the music was very cookie cutter, pop, whatnot. It all sounded like music I've heard before. But at the same time, they had a wide variety of guests and different singers and producers that obviously I'm sure it took time to get them on and to write with, like all these different people, but just the actual writing was disappointing. They got what was his name? I forget his full name. I'm going to say it wrong. The Funk Homo Sapien. He was on the first album. He was Russell's ghost he rapped on Clint Eastwood and whatnot. They got him on the album. This is the first time he's been on the Gorillaz album since their first one, and I hated the song. I think it was Moments. I'm gonna have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure it was Moments, and it was like my least favorite song of the album. It was awful. Well,
then there's also the whole thing. Like, there's a lot of artists that kind of only ever had one good album. Or like they
try and replicate, or they have too many albums,
or not even just that they only have one good album. Like their first album was just so much better than the rest of them. Like kind of like DJ Shadow.
That happens a lot. Not just electronic music. That just happens all the time.
No, that's like a lot of. I mean, like Weezer. I mean, a lot of people say that was. A lot of people say Blue Album's the best album. Then you go to Killers. Everyone says the first album's the best album. Like,
no one says that about Radiohead though. No one says Pablo Honey.
But like, I mean, and then like with DJ Shadow, his first album was like perfect, and then.
His second album was okay.
You know, his other albums are not bad. It's just like they just kind of trail off.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to take a teeny tiny break. We're going to listen to a few shout-outs, show promos, and then listen to a little bit of music. And we'll be back to you a little bit later. Enjoy.
Are you in college? Are you looking to pick up a minor that pairs with your major? Then look no further. The professional and public writing minor pairs well with any major or minor. It is for anyone who wants to learn about different kinds of writing for the workplace, nonprofit, digital, political, and collaborative. It is designed to teach students to communicate with a variety of audiences in print and digital contexts. It's easy to complete as well, only 6 classes. That means you could finish it in 2 semesters. For more information about the professional and public writing minor, visit the Department of Writing Studies homepage via www.montclair.edu.
Well, here goes nothing, I mean everything. Fingers crossed every morning after a night of no sleep, wondering if it will ever be me. But I guess I'm doing just fine, texting you subs and haze with a smile.
Tune into Little Bill's Takeover Wednesday evenings from 4 to 7 at 90.3 FM, WMSCRadio.com, or the iHeartRadio app for your dose of alternative rock.
You got to cling to this town that you supposedly hate, and though it kills me to say, if you get stuck, oh, I'm just gonna leave.
Over the banister leans a face, tenderly sweet, and
the sea is calm tonight. The tide is full. The moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. Come to the window. Sweet is the night air. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen. You hear the grating roar of pebbles, which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strand. Ah, love, let us be true to one another.
someone loves someone?
I do,
Have you told her?
No, you know me, I'm too shy. Here, I could cable her.
Why not semaphore? Arthur, you've got to declare yourself openly. Otherwise you'll stay right where you are.
Simple man, I have plain, simple feelings, and I use plain, simple words. And I simply have to let you know, plainly, that I slainly and pimply want.
Then you have it. Oh, no, really, I think you ought to give him a chance. He seems kind of helpless. Helplessness is the last thing I am looking for. If we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, you must learn not to interrupt. The rest of our lives?
Yes.
You mean marriage?
Of course.
You've got a nerve.
Got several of them. They're all functioning normally.
Do you realize what you've said?
I should do. It's pounded in my brain often enough, asleep and awake, in the drowsy fantasy moment of every lonely dawn. Well, come on. What's your answer?
You've taken my breath away.
Oh, it's just the sudden realization, you see, of the fact that I love you.
Hey yo, this is Oddball Frequency, your #1 source for a waste of time and some electronic music, I guess. Today's episode of Oddball Frequency is sponsored by pizza. Good pizza.
The best pizza.
The best pizza. We're going to throw the news over to Dan Yull to see if he can say something cool that's going on right now.
I don't think it's very cool, but the White House is suggesting that China do a trade cutoff to North Korea so that they stop their production of nuclear armaments and also hydrogen bombs. So, yeah.
Yawn. And as for the weather, it's pretty much just over here in North Jersey. It's pretty much just going to be cloudy all night. We had some rain a little bit earlier on. Tomorrow it's actually supposed to be even heavier rain, so be ready for that. Some thunder. And then pretty much after that, it's just going to be mixed sunny days with some slight clouds. And as far as the temperature goes, it's low 80s, high 70s. That's pretty much going to be every single day from as far as the weather can tell right now. The super hot days are over, but we're still going to be stuck with some warm days for a little bit, so we'll try and get used to that. Until then, enjoy some Blockhead.
Dale, Cuco.
What is up? This is Oddball Frequency, your number one source for whatever.
Music and pizza.
Pizza, which I wish I still had.
But you don't. You have a pizza hat on, though.
I have a pizza hat on, which everyone can see right now.
Yeah, all
and
of
it's
our
a really nice
amazing
hat.
fans.
It's an amazing hat, and I just take my word for it. Obviously.
He's not being truthful.
So we were going to talk about EDM music, and that's...
And by EDM, we mean like the...
electronic dance music, but...
What we mean really is like the stuff that people refer to as EDM, like the really popular like Calvin Harris type stuff nowadays.
Super just drum heavy, dubstep heavy, and it's, you know, when it really came to high in like the early 2010s, I thought it wouldn't last long. I hated it. I'm like, man, people are going to just...
Because I remember
hate
like
this,
Avicii
and
Levels.
Everyone loved it.
In 2011, Avicii's song Levels, I thought that was the peak.
Yeah. Just anything Avicii, Tiesto, a new Calvin Harris. I loved Calvin Harris's first album, Merrymaking, or Born something in the 80s. Can you look it up? I don't know.
What?
Calvin Harris's first album. It was
actually, I'll look that up.
It had Merrymaking at My Place. Acceptable in the 80s, maybe that was called. It was this really cool dance disco / like indie sounding record, and it was really cool. There's not a lot of albums that I thought sounded like it at the time, and I'm like, oh man, his next album's gonna be great. And
his first album was
Yellow.
I Created Disco in
that
2007.
Was it. That was it. Yeah, I like that album.
2007.
And then I don't like not appreciate him nowadays. I'm just a little disappointed. Like, out of all the EDM artists and pop electronic music artists, he's definitely far from the worst. Far from the worst.
Apparently, he did a tour with Groove Armada back in 2007 when he first started. Groove Armada is like they're actually a late 90s band and an early 2000s band that makes like really, really good ambient music. One of their songs is actually in my top 10 like songs of all time, actually. So if anyone wants a good recommendation, go listen to the early Groove Armada.
Also, popped in my head while we were on break, Atari Teenage Riot. That was also a really good band from the 90s.
I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, we can list off all
these.
We
can say
like,
a
for
bunch,
90s and 2000s, like, we
can
could just keep saying more and more, but, like, eventually...
People are just going to... The two listeners that we have are eventually just going to turn off.
Not even that, just like the fact that we can just keep going and going and going. So, I mean, you got to just, like, calm it down, I guess.
Oh, totally. But, yeah, EDM... It plays a huge role in electronic music till this day, like 7 years later, since it's high, and it's still going strong. You still have like Electric Daisy Festival, you still have these crazy electronic festivals which put the such a high emphasis in the lighting and like the drug universe of it. Obviously that's there, you can't deny that. And like, you know, they put so much investment in that and the experience of just going. I feel like the music just takes a backseat sometimes, and it's kind of disappointing. Because obviously when you go to a festival, music should be like the number one reason for going, but I feel like a lot of people go because, oh, it's cool, and you know, it's an experience to go and party and, you know, say that you went. Like, oh yeah, I went to
Izu.
I went to Izu this summer. What did you do?
I mean, like I don't know about Danny. I mean, I assume.
Oh, no, but you.
Well, I mean, I'm almost certain, but I can. I definitely don't like to go to a place just because. Oh, I can, like, smoke weed or do like ecstasy and then like dance around a bunch of people listening to electronic music. For me, it's more about going to see the artist.
Yeah,
like I want to see people I like, not just random person 5 and then cool guy 7
cool
or whatever.
Dude as he, you know, like presses play on his laptop and then pumps his fist in the air.
Yeah, and then the people then they like fake their hands above the the mixing board. Yeah.
If there's one thing I'm jealous, the production on like lighting and stuff like that is incredible. There's always incredible lighting effects and scenery, and the stage looks so cool. It's a shame because I've only been to 2 festivals. I've been to Mayhem Fest, which was a metal festival in 2011, and I went to Govball this summer, and that was really cool. But both of them were just stages, you know, stages with bands. I feel like only with electronic festivals, like purely EDM festivals, they go crazy with everything.
Well, I mean, I bet if you go to a metal festival, I mean, like a Slipknot Fest or Knot Fest or whatever it's called.
Slipfest, something like that.
Yeah,
and then there's Ozfest.
Yeah, like all those. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they might have a little bit more, but
it's really
I think people go to those more for music,
it's
which
really
is
just
good.
The demographics. So I mean, like,
true.
I mean, if you go to like an alt rock festival, there's gonna be a lot of people who are like a bit like more like 30 or like around 30 years old and
late
like
20s, early 30s.
Not really like a casual person. Like usually they're like more hipstery or whatever. Then you go to
not to bash them or anything.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything bad.
Yeah, obviously.
Just describing people.
Yeah, it's just the way they sit on stools on stage. But yeah, EDM has played a huge role, and like telling people that I listen to electronic music, they always assume EDM. That's the first thing that pops in. Like,
the worst thing is
9 times out of 10, that's what's gonna pop in their head.
Back in like 2008, they were like, or 2008, like 2010, people were like, if you said that, you're like, oh, you listen to Daft Punk? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, so you like One More Time, and that's it? I'm like,
they're like, oh, I listen to electronic. They're like, oh, do you mean like Daft Punk? I'm like, hey.
Well, yeah, that was like that was cool at least.
And now it's like, oh, you mean like Calvin
Oh, you like
Harris?
Skrillex, Skrillex,
Chainsmokers.
Oh no.
How did they go from doing Selfie to becoming an actual
I don't
band?
know. They're the Nickelback of electronic music. I don't even try and like.
They made Selfie,
but
now they're like popular. That's.
I know people who like them. I get music subjective and all, but I just don't get some bands.
I've never heard another one of their songs just because I've heard Selfie, and I don't care what they do after that. You can't make a song that soulless,
boneless.
I'm feeling a light 0.
What do I want to play after this? I'll play this after. Right now we're playing "We Are the Night" by the Chemical Brothers. Right before we played "Penelope Pit Stop" by Breakbot. Yeah, people always assume, most people around college, that it's EDM.
Yeah.
And then I'll say a bunch of artists I listen to, and they, you know, I'm not trying to sound hipstery, but obviously I am. That's just
I mean this kind of thing, like, if you like a genre, you generally don't. I mean, most people who just like really like music,
not just electronic music.
That's kind
obviously,
that's kind of the thing is like people who just say I like watching TV, generally watch the biggest shows. But someone who's like a TV reviewer, like a movie reviewer, they're going to see the more like indie stuff and also like all the less obscure things. That's kind of how it goes.
Film fans are going to be watching stuff from over 50 years ago, and they're still going to be talking about it.
And they'll be watching the stuff that's indie or like only at festivals. But like the average person will be like, oh, there's a new Marvel movie.
Oh yeah, Marvel. I was just going to say Marvel.
Then for music, it's like, oh yeah, I listen to whatever's on the radio. Then there's people like us, like I go into like deep into electronic, or I like go deep into like metal or whatever. So,
yeah, exactly.
And then like with games, the same thing. People like, oh, I play COD every year or like FIFA. And then there's people that like play to go into the indie scene and like stuff like that. It's just kind of how it goes.
That's just the way, and kind of like.
There's nothing wrong
Not
with
to be
it.
that guy. That's just the way it's been, you know.
And there's nothing wrong with liking what's popular.
Yeah, exactly. If that's what you genuinely love, go for it. We're not going to tell you to not listen to that.
Yeah.
We're just saying what we like, personally. Working at GameStop, that was a little soul crushing every once in a while, because
the worst company that exists in gaming. I mean, sorry, that's just an opinion. That's just
my opinion.
That's just my opinion.
Just my
no
opinion.
lawsuit, please.
I worked at GameStop, so I can bash on it. See, I worked at Taco Bell for 3 years, and I still love them. That says a lot. GameStop, I loved like working there, and I loved the job. I loved selling video games to people. I mean, that's just been like a huge thing of mine. But GameStop as a company. We're not gonna get into it.
There's a reason that they're kind of closing a lot of stores.
Yeah,
like they closed 600 last year.
Amazon is too crazy, man. Amazon is just beating everything. It's nuts.
I mean, it's or Steam, you know.
And Steam, yeah. As far as gaming.
Yeah.
Well, what are we talking about? Something about music,
EDM,
I think. EDM. I was gonna talk a little bit about some concerts that we went to, tell a couple stories. I was gonna say like, what was your favorite concert? Let me lower this a little bit. What was the favorite show you went to? Favorite, like, I don't know, moments? Anything off the top of your head? And then like, what was your least favorite moment from a concert?
Easy top. Bonobos. So me and Danny went to see Bonobo in April, and the people who came on before him. There's this actually like really cool like Moroccan like
it was awesome.
Group that did like native like Moroccan like music. Which is like with like these like weird drums and like they were like
African
doing like these acapella. It was really interesting.
It was really
cool.
And
then came on right after that was Romare who did.
Yeah.
He didn't do like normal. So like usually when you go to electronic, you either see like them playing with instruments and then also like someone like on like a synth or like a
he was
like
a
sampler.
multi-instrumentalist
Like,
basically.
Or you've seen them just pressing a button, whereas he just did live mixing. He just was like on like in whatever like production software he was using and just kept like adding on to it and kept like live producing. It was really interesting.
Cool. He'd play like a 4-beat loop on his electric drum kit, and then
like
just move that infinitely, and then move on to the next instrument.
Then you like pick up a guitar, start playing on that, then you put it down, go to something else. It was really interesting.
I was not expecting it.
I never listened to Romare before that, but then I put him on my Pandora as like a thing. But now I've been listening to him like all the time, and I actually got one of his albums on vinyl now.
Yeah.
And his stuff is if you guys want like really good
how would you describe it?
It's kind of just like Bonobo. It's more ambient-y, but it's not like it's not down tempo.
It's a little bit heavier.
It's
you could bob your head a little bit more.
Well, I mean, like ambient doesn't. You're thinking of down tempo as ambient, because I mean trance is also ambient, but that's like something you can go to.
Yeah,
ambient's a pretty large like. It ranges from like down tempo where you can like fall asleep to it to like stuff that you just like kind of drive to.
Hip hop beats in a way. Some hip hop beats.
Yeah, but like, and then right after that was Bonobo, and he came on, and he had like a ton of like professional musicians, like a really good drummer, like 3 violinists, a bassist, and like someone that was like playing like flute and clarinet. It was great, like actual like so many different like people playing so many different instruments, a bunch of vocalists. It was really awesome.
Oh yeah.
It was like probably like it was like such a solid experience. It just was like good and good and good. Like I didn't know who the other 2 people were,
really
and it just kept getting better and better. Like that was probably like the most solid concert experience. The worst was when we went to see Justice on sadly December 30th, not December 31st.
Don't get us wrong. Justice was amazing.
Justice was amazing.
Yeah, Justice
I loved
was great.
Justice. But there's this band called Crystal Castles that came on. They do this like goth electronic stuff. That's not really the issue. The music was kind of hype or whatever, but like
we're not really bashing on the music.
The girl just kept opening up water bottles, pouring on herself, and then she started throwing into the crowd.
And we're in the front. Take note.
I'm not only am I in the front, like there's two sides, so like there's one going, like there's something going down the middle between the two. Like there's
there's
a
a little
massive
pathway
stadium.
if an artist wants to walk down the path, but
Yeah.
while still
so like
remaining
so
separated.
it kind of like does like an angle, and I'm at that angle, so like I'm right in front of this thing, and I'm like
we're
right
on the
there.
bars. We could say that we're like
I'm on the bars, but like
on the
I'm on like the corner, like the corner of that. So
We're
I'm
as
like
close as can be.
I'm as
We could
close
say
as I
that.
could possibly be, and then she just comes over, starts throwing water, and and
she's throwing water bottles at the audience.
no, she doesn't throw the bottles. She's like just like the water, and I'm just like I'm just standing there like could you not?
Yeah, like
could,
honestly,
could you not?
Like, could you just play the music? Like, I get you want to like make a
But,
gimmick
like,
or something,
they just kept
but like seriously, do
opening
it
up bottles, putting her on herself, and then throwing it into the crowd. I'm like, could you
not?
Like seriously, just
stop.
Just don't.
Yeah, Crystal Castles. If you're listening, if you are listening,
If you're
Crystal
listening,
Castles.
if you're listening, lady, could you please not throw water on me again? Thanks.
I remember we were sitting and we waited a long time, just as they all took their time getting on stage. But I remember
we got there
seeing-
early.
Yeah, we got there early, so it's also our fault.
And then
It
also
was cold,
just to
man.
start,
It was so cold.
no, it was great.
No, I'm
I'm
freezing.
I'm sorry that you're a twig, fam.
I weigh like 2 pounds. I get cold in the summer sometimes. Anyway,
Lol.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, basically, I remember waiting, for the opening band to come on, Crystal Castles, and I saw the 24-pack of water bottles on stage.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking to myself, like, oh, like I just kept looking at it for some reason. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They got a lot of water for the artists to use. That's really nice of them in case they get hot or something. That's really nice. They got a lot of water.
Nope, it was just
Stay
to
hydrated.
pour on herself.
And then, like, she opens up when right as the show starts. I'm like, oh, whoa, it's already thirsty. She unscrews it and then just starts splashing it everywhere.
And it just kept going on.
Yeah, for the
and
entire 45 minutes.
And on.
Which is also a Justice song.
Yeah.
But then Justice came on and they were good. So
and they played Mr. Wazo a little bit.
Mr. Wazo, yeah.
That was great.
As far as worst experience, I have like 2 mini stories that pop up in my head. I'll say my favorite show first. It was Tenacious D, and it was either 2012 or 2013. I think it was 12. All I know is guaranteed I was a senior in high school when I went to see them, and I went to see them with my friend Nick, who was the only person I knew that was a Tenacious D fan, and unfortunately still is the only person that I know personally that is a huge Tenacious D fan. Shout outs to Nick. And we went to go see them. We were so excited. Nick and I were both diehard fans. We can say every single word to every single song because we're that guys. We are those guys. And so we saw they went on tour, and I was super hyped. And on the way to the show, Nick's mom drove us. It was in the city. It was at, I think, the Hammerstein Ballroom. And we were playing Rise of the Phoenix, which was their latest album, and it was the album they were promoting, for the tour. And we were blasting it as his mom was driving us, and I would never have done this because if anyone knows Tenacious D's music at all, it is really vulgar, and it makes a lot of sex jokes, and it curses every single word. I love it, but I would never play it in front of my mom. So Nick, he's like telling his mom to keep turning it up because we're having a great time in the back seats. We're we're shouting the words, but at the same time, just like wow.
Woo.
Yeah, woo.
Lad.
And one of my least favorite experiences kind of actually bleeds into Tenacious D because the opening band for Tenacious D was one of the worst bands I have ever seen in my life. They were called The Sights, and I can't put my finger on it why I thought they were so bad. It just sounded like the most generic rock music known to man, but I felt like they knew this. So what they did was they got a saxophone player. They had this saxophone player in a hardcore rock band, which may sound good on paper, but it really didn't. It was just this blaring, annoying saxophone the entire time. People were booing them. People were throwing stuff on stage, and I was for it. I'm not gonna lie, I was for it. I was booing with them. And like I just remember clear as day, they finished up like their third song, and someone shouted "Free Bird," like the classic, thing to shout at a show. And they played like the first 10 seconds of it, and everyone started cheering, and then they stopped, and everyone started, like the whole room started booing them.
Woo.
So like right off the bat, Nick and I are like not feeling the show at all, but Tenacious D comes on, and it was the greatest show I've ever been to so far. Oh no, I'm seeing Paul McCartney next week. That made topic.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, and I'm seeing Death Grips in October, which I'm really anticipated for. But anyway, I don't know if I can say this word on air. I like obviously can, but it's still gonna be weird. So right before Tenacious D comes on, a giant inflatable penis comes on the stage, and it takes up the entire stage, and everyone goes nuts. And it's it splits down the middle and starts to deflate, and Tenacious D walks out of the deflated penis, and everyone goes nuts, and they start playing Kielbasa. And like, if you're a huge Tenacious D fan, you know all the words to the songs. So every single song they played, besides some of the newer ones, because people are still learning the lyrics, everyone knew all the words, and everyone was just having a great time. And that, to this day, is my favorite show. And I guess saying another, like, experience that I really didn't like in a show, it was in 2011 at the Mayhem Festival that I mentioned. One of the main bands that we went to go see was Disturbed. At the time, my best friend Enrique and I, we were huge Disturbed fans, and we're like, oh yeah, why not? This festival already has a bunch of cool bands. Why not go see Disturbed? Right before them, also Megadeth was there, and I was a diehard Megadeth fan. So the main four were the Deftones, Megadeth, Godsmack, and then Disturbed. Godsmack since that day has been a huge
glorious
joke between me and my friends.
Stand alone.
God, where do I start, man? So like Godsmack comes on, and I barely know these guys. Enrique knew them a little bit because he knew I Stand Alone, and he knew Whiskey Hangover, and nobody wanted to see them. Nobody was happy that they were there. We were so bored. All of their songs sounded the same, and I'm not gonna say sorry for this. I'm sorry, Godsmack, but come on, dudes.
I'm not sorry. They should. If you want to listen to the song, go on YouTube and type in Godsmack, I Stand Alone, and then put it on 1.5 speed.
Yeah, the chorus.
No, the entire song.
Oh, okay.
It's so slow. Like, it feels like it. But if you put it at 1.5 speed, it sounds like an actual song.
It is just the epitome of new metal.
It's supposed to be metal, and then it's super slow.
Metal.
So you just put it at 1.5 speed, and then it sounds better. But I mean, it's still like not good at all.
It just sounded like the most generic new metal ever. Like just the most cookie cutter, and all the songs sounded the same, and we just wanted to see Disturbed, and it felt like an eternity. And I'll never forget this. They leave the stage as if they're done, and Enrique and I are cheering, and I remember like a guy down the row, he was cheering too. Like, apparently some other guys in our row, they felt us. And then they come back on stage and like, hey, we got a couple more songs for you kids, and we're like, no. Stop! And they play I Stand Alone, and people were kind of happy about that because I think that's their most popular song. But Enrique and I, oh my god.
Stand alone!
Stand alone! And then Disturbed came on, and that was pretty cool. Yeah. Concerts. Oh man, I've been to a lot of shows, and we went to a lot over the summer, and we have a lot planned, which we kind of talked about in last week's episode.
We can go over that again.
Yeah, we could briefly go over it. We're going to see Death Grips, Paul
McCartney.
McCartney.
So on September 21st, we're going to see Paul McCartney.
Oh, you got the list. Cool.
October 5th, we're going to see Wolfgang Gartner. Death Grips / Ministry on October 16th and the 17th. We're going to both a Monday and Tuesday show, back-to-back Death Grips.
Oh, yeah.
And then Parov Stellar on the 27th. The 28th, the next day. Not
Yeah.
not a musician, but
very
Anthony Fantano.
Yeah, he's
better
a certain,
known as the Needle Drop.
The Needle Drop, better known as Melonhead.
Better known as
the best teeth in the game.
The best teeth.
Better known as
Yellow
Flannel.
the biggest music nerd
on the internet.
On the
apparently.
internet.
Yeah, he's going on tour to celebrate 10 years of his YouTube channel.
And then in November, we're gonna see the Bloody Beetroots and then Wax Taylor.
Yeah, and I'm with my girlfriend Grace. I'm gonna go see Lemon Twigs at the end of September. And
yeah, I like Lemon Jelly.
Lemon Jelly. Hey, I might play them later. What was I gonna say? And we were gonna see In This Moment in mid-October. I'm pretty sure she's listening right now. If I don't remember the exact date, I'm sorry. But yeah, we're gonna see In This Moment in Lemon Twigs, and I'm pretty sure that's it as of right now. That is, unless something else pops up. But
she doesn't have good music taste. I'm not saying those bands. I'm just saying in general.
In Mr. General.
Lol.
Oh man, I'm just waiting for like the Snapchat or text from her.
That's why I said it.
Just my phone's just gonna blow up. Daniel rant.
Roasted.
Right now is playing You're Not From Brighton by Fatboy Slim. Oh yeah, we were gonna talk about some of the shows. Anyone else, or was that pretty much it?
No, that's it. And then this last weekend we went to not music related, but we went to a video game con, which was in Parsippany.
Yeah, it's literally called
a video game con.
AVGC, a video game con. I could not think of a better name.
It's the third year. It's just like a video game con that has has like an arcade room. It has like consoles to play a bunch of old retro games, and then also has like where you can buy a bunch of games.
She's typing. She's sending me something.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. I got some good games. I got some good games.
Yeah, what games did you get, Daniel?
I got Super Mario Brothers 3 in box. I got Mega Man 2 in box. 2 NES games, and then I got the DK Bongos.
Whoa.
The best way to play music on the GameCube.
The only way to play music on the GameCube.
Am I right?
Am I right, fellas? I gotta look up some features and showmos because we've been kind of behind on stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, it's top of the hour at WMSC Upper Montclair. Should just mention that. I think we'll let the song play out, and we'll play a few showmos and show promos, a little bit more music, and we'll come back to you a little bit later. Take it easy.
Hey, this is Chuck Bailey from Teston right here on 90.3 on WMSC.
Hey WMSC listeners, this is entertainment correspondent Julia Siegel coming to you from the Montclair Film Festival where the closing night film Band-Aid is about to start. But first, I just talked to Band-Aid director, writer, producer, and star Zoe Lister-Jones about her directorial debut. Now, what's it like to be able to have full creative control as the writer, director, producer, and actor for Band-Aid?
Well, it's pretty awesome. It's really nice as an artist to be able to just pursue your vision singularly without too many other hands interfering. But I obviously had an amazing support system with my crew and producers and cast. So it takes a village.
Well, it definitely does. And speaking of the cast, it's an incredible cast and a wonderful ensemble. How did you make that happen?
Luckily most of them were my friends, so I asked personally if they would come hang out for a little bit and make a movie with me, and so luckily they all said yes. But yeah, I mean, there were a few people, like I didn't know Fred Armisen personally, so that was a call I made through the proper channels, through his reps, and yeah, it was it all happened luckily quite effortlessly. Yeah.
Well, that's always good because it must make your job so much easier than you didn't have to fight anybody on it.
Totally.
But I think to say that you're a big fan of music might be a little bit of an understatement. So does Band-Aid have anything of your real life experiences with music?
Yeah, I was in a band in high school and college, and so I drew from that sort of, and then also I've been writing lyrics and collaborating with my friend Kyle Forster, who wrote the music with me for Band-Aid for many, many years since college. So it was definitely sort of the culmination of a lot of musical efforts that I had been leading up to Band-Aid.
That's good to hear. And last question for you. What's it like trying to balance a feature film and a TV show, Life in Pieces, at the same time?
Well, it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's nice because I get to flex different muscles in both projects. So on Life in Pieces, I'm just an actress, although it's that's not an easy task. But with this, obviously, I get to wear a lot of hats, which is really fun.
Band-Aid opens in New York City and Los Angeles on June 2nd. For WMSC, this is Julia Siegel.
Here's a chance to do something good for your health and for your friends. Consider becoming a peer advocate volunteer. MSU Volunteers for Health Promotions Drop-In Center provide personal outreach and education on a variety of health and social justice issues. These include alcohol, drugs, safer sex, stress, nutrition, and diversity, just to name a few. It's peer-led advocacy with the accent on social change. To get involved as a peer advocate, go to the MSU website and search for peer advocates. This message brought to you by MSU Health Promotion.
the 411 on the latest in news and entertainment? Then tune in to my show, Keeping Up with Kate, Thursdays 1 to 4 p.m. for the latest news updates, hot topics, movie reviews, and whatever else everyone's been talking about. Don't forget this semester, keep up with me, Kate Bronstein, on Keeping Up with Kate, Thursdays 1 to 4 p.m.
John, you've been on the go ever since you were born, and I imagine few people in the world today have traveled as much as you have. Now, why?
Well, I don't know. I suppose some of us are cave dwellers. Some of us live in houses. Some of us like to be loose-footed. I'm a rambling man. Ipanema,
Hey, how's it going?
Morty.
Hey. All right, this is Oddball Frequency, your number one source for a waste of time, pizza, and electronic music.
Yeah.
And bottles of water. We got plenty of water. Come get some.
One bottle, and that's it.
One single bottle of
And we have
pretty
one
good water.
chocolate munchkin left.
And, wait, you ate all the what? I had like 2.
I didn't say they were for you.
Oh my god.
You have one chocolate munchkin, boy.
Or something like that. What are we going to talk about? Oh, yeah. We were going to talk about
music.
How our tastes in music have changed over the years. Which I know I could definitely talk about a lot. I'm sure you can too.
You can go.
All right. So my first experience with liking music came from. Oh man, it was definitely at the end of elementary school. I really didn't like a lot of the music that was out at the time. I just didn't like Green Day, which was the biggest band amongst all my friends. When American Idiot came out, that was it. That was what everybody was listening to, and it just wasn't for me. And it was Eminem and Green Day, like that was it. And like Matchbox 20 or something like that. I don't know.
That was late 90s.
People were still listening. I remember a few kids in their cars and like Smash Mouth. I know. Because the Digimon movie and Shrek. I mean, who didn't watch Shrek?
Somebody
all
once told me.
All memes aside. But I remember I took band in No, that was later on. I listened to Queen, and I really liked Queen. That just clicked with me.
And I remember, everyone.
Oh, Queen's great.
Yeah.
And it was the very first band to ever click with me, and I was just like, wow, music can be pretty good. And my mom borrowed the CD Sheer Heart Attack by Queen from a coworker from where she worked, and I just kind of kept it from there. I mean, it was just some random CD that she probably never listened to. Hopefully that's the case if you're listening. I'm sorry that I still have your copy of Sheer Heart Attack by Queen, and by that I mean I lost it years ago, so sorry, not sorry. I liked it. I at least enjoyed it at the time. And then I delved a lot more into Queen from there. They were like my favorite band for like a few months, and then I was really into Aerosmith. Aerosmith was a big band for me. And then I got Guitar Hero. And then I'm not gonna lie, Guitar Hero shaped my music taste super heavily. If it wasn't for Guitar Hero, I don't know what I'd be listening to nowadays, but like you go on my iPod from like middle school and it would all just be songs from Guitar Hero 3 and 2. And like that was it. That's all the music I knew. I didn't know how to like discover music. And then I kind of did. I played more Guitar Hero. I attended band class, which, my professor, he would only play classic rock.
Teacher.
And then, oh yeah,
teacher.
This was high school and middle school. Teacher. He would only have us play like classic rock songs. Yeah. Which was pretty cool because, throughout almost all of middle school and high school, all I listened to was classic rock. And that was it. And I was that kid. I was that guy that said, if you don't listen to anyone else but classic rock, your music taste is horrible. I was that kid that people hated.
Opinion.
Fact, not opinion. I wore my Pink Floyd shirt proudly through the halls. And I stuck my chest out with my elitist musical opinion, which I cringe at nowadays.
That's why you never got no education.
No education. And there's the classic photo, which luckily this is radio, you can't see it, but of me wearing a fedora from when I went to Las Vegas. I forget when. I think I don't remember.
And your guitar.
And I was wearing my Hard Rock Cafe t-shirt with a fedora and my greasy hair that I never washed because I was too cool for that, obviously. And
taking showers is too mainstream, bro.
Taking showers is too mainstream, dude.
This song is amazing.
Oh yeah, I love this song. This is Electricity by the Avalanches.
The best on the album.
Mm-hmm. not. I don't know about that, but it's a good song.
Fact, not opinion.
Anyway, speaking of facts, not opinions, my opinion was fact in high school. And thank God. Also, obviously, I think I talked about this a little bit last week. Daft Punk, they were my favorite band from the 8th grade to maybe like freshman year of college. So they were really up there too. I got into them around, man, I want to say like the 6th grade. I discovered, that wasn't even going to be intentional. I was going to say I discovered Discovery, and I was going to hate myself if that actually came out naturally. But yeah, I found Discovery, and it was like my favorite album forever.
It's still one like.
Oh, it's still my second favorite album, but I'm not gonna lie, that's mainly because of nostalgia and how much that album means to me. Yeah,
if you like the music, you like the music.
Yeah, totally. I still listen to it nowadays, and I still enjoy the hell out of it. And thank God, senior year comes around, and I start discovering a lot more music. Up until like junior year, Daft Punk was the only electronic music I listened to. Deadmau5 and Justice and the Avalanches pulled me out of that. And then senior year, it delved more into a lot more genres. Junior year, I also delved into a lot of metal and a little bit of hip-hop, but not a lot, just enough to go to Mayhem Festival. Like, I really like Megadeth, System of a Down, and Red Fang. That was pretty much it. Senior year, that's when I discovered Alive 2007 by Daft Punk. It was their live album from 2007, Whoop-De-Doo. And that was the first time that music, like, I just had, I don't know, I got a musical high from that album. It was the first time I was like, wow, music is awesome. And this is a big deal. Like, why don't people know that music is, like, really cool?
Nowadays, people don't know real music.
Real music. Only we do, Daniel.
We only know the best musical.
Water.
Pizza.
Money. Music. Waste of time.
Oddball frequency.
Oddball frequency. Wednesday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
With Daniel Turch.
Daniel Turch. So, I discovered a lot. I discovered the Avalanches, Justice, and like I knew about these bands, but it wasn't until senior year, a year later, when I really started to take advantage and really stick my feet in the water. Before I forget, it is top of the hour at WMSC Upper Montclair. And then college comes around, and that's when like it got even crazier because I met my really good friend Phil, and he was probably the biggest person in my life to help me just talk about music, feel more comfortable with the music that I like, not really be ashamed that if I'm listening to a band or an album that, you know, some other people may not like it or it's just not that popular. As long as I enjoy the music, that's all that matters. And that was great. He helped me with, you know, the same opinions on movies, music, TV. It really just helped me break out of my, like, I don't know, opinion shell. Because for a long time in high school, I was really, I don't know, like, I was elitist, a little self-aware at the time. I was elitist, but I hated it. Because, like, I'm like, oh, I'm the only kid that listens to classic rock at my school. Why don't other people understand my super good music taste? But, you know, it would still just get to me that, like, man, I'm, like, the only person that listens to this stuff. Am I in the wrong? And, I mean, a little bit, but for thinking certain things that I did. But, you know, college comes around, and then, you know, all of my new friends, we would all just be super accepting and just talk about music, review new albums, and to this day, I'm still, like, trying to break out of my comfort zone more and more with music. Like, every day. Oh, man. And so, freshman year, that's when I deemed the Beatles as my favorite band. I discovered the Beatles around senior year of high school. And then I just more and more, I just loved them. Like, I'm just like, wow, these guys are my favorite band. Like, I don't enjoy any more music other than these guys. And it was also freshman year of college when I deemed Since I Left You as my favorite album ever. And, you know, I'll kind of wrap it up. The rest of college was just like nonstop getting into new genres. I'm really into hip hop now. I'm into more electronic music and rock and metal as ever. And yeah, I'm very satisfied with where I am musically. I'm with a couple communities on Facebook. I go on 4chan a lot.
And now we go to shows.
And now I have a radio show somehow, and I might get an internship at Sirius XM next spring, which would be amazing. On to you, Daniel.
Oh, hi. Yeah, so, little known fact, seeing as no one knows us.
Whoa.
Yeah, well,
what are you talking about?
My mother, her mother, and all of her family are all professional musicians. My grandmother has played the bassoon since like the mid 40s or like the early 50s, and then also my mom was in marching band, concert band, and like all of her brothers and sisters are professional musicians right now. So so like when I was growing up, my mom and my dad just really like of course classic rock and also just like random stuff. So like when I was growing up, I always listened, like before I even knew what music was the Beatles, Elton John, Queen, Elvis Costello, Pink Floyd, everything. So like all of classic rock. So like, and like Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, the big classics.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, a little bit of Nirvana.
Also, that reminds me, I want to talk about my sister super quick because I know she's listening. Thank you, Fuffy, for getting me into a lot of music. Talking Heads, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Thanks,
first
Fuffy.
to come to mind. Yeah, I just thank you so much. I've gotten into so much music because of you. Big shout outs to my sister over in Oregon.
Oh wow, that's far.
Yeah. You may continue.
But yeah, so I was just growing up on like classic rock and like alt rock, and then I think it wasn't until like probably like so I started playing like concert band in like 4th grade. But like when I first started finding music on my own, the first stuff I really found on my own was Daft Punk, and like this would have been like 2006, I think, maybe 2005. So like when I was like 9 or 10, wherever that was. Yeah, so like I found Daft Punk like on YouTube, like, and like it was like Human After All, because like just came out, or it was Discovery.
That's when I got
it was
into
either
right after
actually
Human
I have
After
no idea
All.
what the first song was, but I do know, like, I remember when like Technologic and like all the Human After All singles came out, and I was like really hyped because like that was like new music and I was listening to it, and I just listened to like their other stuff and it was amazing. And then really like through middle school I went from like a little bit of like Daft Punk and like getting into a little bit of like just regular rock, like more rock. Like I had already been listening to Green Day because like my brother had.
Yeah.
And then
like everyone else.
I don't know, just listening to random stuff. And then in 8th grade and 9th grade I got into like a metal and like more edgy music kind of thing. And so I was listening to like
you and your Tool.
So like I was
Slipknot.
listening to Tool after that. Thank you much. So it was like Slipknot, Hollywood Undead, a bunch of just like random. I still like Slipknot a lot. Like they're still good.
Show.
But
No,
there's
Slipknot's cool.
there's a lot of metal stuff that I listen to. I just try and go back and it's like, oh god, that's not good. And then like 3 Days Grace, but whatever. And then it wasn't real. And then after 9th grade, that's like when I started getting into like, I started to actually find like my own music besides like metal. So I started to get like really into alt rock, and also I started listening to like Tool. So like with alt rock, like if anyone ever lived near like Philadelphia, there's just one station, 104.5. And they're the Phillies alt rock station. It used to be like really good because when I started listening to them, it was like still only a couple years that they came out. They rarely had commercials. Now it's like really commercial or whatever, but like back then they just used to play a bunch of like really cool alt rock stuff.
Yeah.
So this got into like any alt rock band you've ever heard of, I've probably listened to by now. And then 2013 comes around, and I'd already Daft Punk
Man.
So like Daft Punk has been my favorite artist since like probably like 2007 maybe.
Yeah, like right after Human After All.
Yeah, for the last 10 years, like really. Like it was the first. I guess I could say my favorite artist at one point was Green Day, and then before that would have been Styx.
Yeah,
just because
Styx is awesome.
And I still really like Styx, but that was more like that was just stuff I had heard through my parents.
Mr. Roboto was like your favorite song ever at one point.
But and then 2013 comes around, and I start seeing actual. So I mean, if you were a Daft Punk fan between like 2011 and 2013, there's a lot of like fake news about fake rumors and all this other stuff about the new
subreddit
Daft Punk's a new album.
Yeah.
And so like, but then at Coachella 2013, they like actually announced something.
Well, actually, I think I remember the very first thing they did to promote their new album. It was on Facebook, and all they did was post daftpunk.com. A website that's already existed for a long time, but they just said go to Daft Punk, and it was just a 30-second loop of the ending part of Get Lucky.
Yeah, and then
they went more and more from there.
And then they eventually released a 2-minute version of Get Lucky, and then eventually the album came out, and then the album's now my favorite album ever. But then it wasn't really until like when I got into college, then I started to get into Pandora, and Pandora really like opened the floodgates, and I just. If you've never used Pandora, if you start liking and disliking tracks, it starts to find you more and more new, like music that's related. So I've gone into like tons of different like genres. Like I didn't know what ambient music was, but now that's my favorite genre.
That's his favorite genre.
Electronic swing, like electro house, electro. And then like so so like nowadays like I listen to like a lot of everything, but like it used to be I just used to like listen to like some Deadmau5, some Daft Punk, but now it's like there's like new artists like Parav Seller, Tycho, Bonobo, Mala, Roosevelt, all this other stuff, and it just really just been a lot of electronic music and still some alt rock every now and then. But, also some indie pop, etc.
Totally.
And so like nowadays it's just finding a bunch of. I've been getting a lot more into like electro recently, so like Mala, Rez,
just heavier
Deadmau5.
electronic.
Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, it's really just since college, like I've just been finding so many more, and also like Birdie Nam Nam.
Yeah. Hey, what's playing right now?
What is playing right now?
I don't know what's playing. Is it
just,
Birdie Nam Nam Breakbot remix? I don't know. Lucky guess. What was I gonna say?
So yeah. So then like there's just like a
what
lot
were you
of
gonna
stuff.
say? That's what I should have said.
And then yeah, I mean, so like now like my top 50 is like it used to be just like a bunch of classic rock, but now it's like a lot of ambient and like house music and whatnot. And like really it's just like I keep finding new artists. Like I recently found Mala, which makes like really, really gritty, dark, like deep, like heavy, like electronic music. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And then also Rez, and then I don't know. But and also nowadays we're going to see concerts, and you know I found Romare through that, and Romare is like one of my favorite artists now as well. So I mean it's just Pandora's like probably it really is like the best way if you just want to find new music, because I mean you just dislike stuff and you put on the artist into your station and then just keep listening for hours on end, because I get
it
like
recommends you music.
Yeah, I mean,
same with Spotify. That's what I use.
According to Pandora, like I listen to around at least 3.5 hours of music like every day, basically every month.
Yeah.
So
you're always wearing your headphones around campus.
Yeah. Every time I'm walking somewhere, every time I'm on my laptop. I mean, a lot of times I watch videos, but like whenever I'm walking somewhere, I'm listening to music, like listening to Pandora. If I'm driving, I'm listening to Pandora. And a lot of times when I'm playing games, I listen to Pandora.
Oh yeah.
And it just every now and then it'll just like a new song will come on by like someone, and it'll be like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of my top 20 have been now through Pandora, which is crazy. Like for my top songs.
Kind of going back to the random access memories coming out in 2013. I like teeny tiny experience with that, obviously, other than listening to and liking the album. But like, if you thought I was the only kid that listened to classic rock, sure there was definitely a few kids around there. Like I wasn't the only person that listened to it. There just wasn't that many people. You can bet I was the only kid that listened to Daft Punk in my entire high school. That I can confidently say.
One thing so actually, if we're talking about random access memories, there's a lot of stuff behind that, like that happened when that came out. So like, especially I mean, the first thing was so when they released the first like full single of Get Lucky, I was in a technical theater class, so we had a project where we had to do a light show. So I made a light show to Get Lucky before the full album came out.
Oh yeah.
And then when I played it to everyone, like, wow, this is really good. And then like 2 months later, it's like the biggest thing, and they're all
and won album of the year.
Yeah, and then Get Lucky, and then they come back like next year, like all the people like, oh wow, you knew that song before it got big. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm sorry, I'm that guy that likes. I'm sorry, I like
cool.
good music.
I'm cool. Look at me.
And then also, fun fact, I was 17 when the album came out, and in the song "Fragments of Time," they referenced being 17, so it was made for me.
I'm 17.
Making me feel like I'm 17.
And it's crystal
You're clear.
Do it again.
So, needless to say, the album was made for me and no one else.
Just you.
No one else was 17 when that album came out.
I remember, the album got leaked, and a lot of albums get leaked, but Daft Punk did what, bands should do, and release the album a little bit earlier, just because. So, the album got leaked, and I didn't want to listen to the leaked version. Daft Punk instead said, all right, you can stream our album early. You still buy it, please. And I did. You bet I bought it. But I was in high school, and it was a week before the initial release date. And, oh my God. And my friend Juan comes up to me, and everyone knows I'm the Daft Punk kid. I'm like that weird guy.
You still are.
I'm the weird guy that listens to Daft Punk. And he's like, hey, did you hear the new Daft Punk album? It's out right now. And I'm like, what? It's what? And I went home straight away, and oh my God, that was great. And like the next day, I remember so many people coming up to me saying like, wow, that was actually a really good album. Like, wow. And specifically Contact people were talking about. A lot of people were talking about Contact.
Is probably my third favorite song on that album.
Fragments being second.
Yeah, Touch is my favorite song of all time. Fragments is, I mean, I have a top 50. I'm working on getting a top 100 songs list.
Me too.
Because like I hit the point where my top 50, I actually have like 52 songs that I need to have in my top 50.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't kind of do that.
But then you got to put it in order.
No, they are in order now.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much, but like they all need to be there, but there's 52. So like now I'm gonna start working on like a top 100. But like,
yeah, totally.
If I didn't limit it to one per artist, it would have just been like Daft Punk, Queen. So I mean, like, if you don't, that's the thing, like, because I mean, it would just be unfair. Because then it would also, it's kind of boring if you just allow multiple artists in like your top 50 songs or whatever.
Yeah,
because it makes it a lot more interesting to have. But yeah, like, Touch is by far my favorite song of all time, and then Fragments of Time is really close up there.
I just still can't believe how much I listen to Death Grips now. Like, I started listening to them ironically, and now it's literally all I listen to, just Death Grips.
I don't like.
They're my third favorite band of all time. In under a course of like half a year, I got into them in December, and it's September now. They're a meme. That's what I started out with. They started out as a meme band, and oh my God. No problem, Fuffy. Catch you later. I got a text. But, yeah. Death Grips. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'll keep it short.
8080808.
Yeah. I'll probably let this song play out. We have to do a feature, and I'll play a little bit of music. What's up?
Before we do,
yeah, go for it.
This song, actually, when we saw this live the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the second time? Oh, no, yeah, the first time we saw this live, they had the actual singers that they sampled.
Yeah.
So like the lady who like
Shara.
Yeah, so she made like some
like
random some song like in the 90s.
80s.
But like where this is sampled from, and her daughter actually they brought them on like during that, and she did the vocals instead of of them sampling it. They just had the original singer. It was like actually really cool.
That's an awesome way to pay homage to the.
And like her daughter's
source.
Like 12, so like she was like really nervous. It was.
I thought it was kind of cute. They had to like cue her when to sing. Like, all right, after this loop, you're gonna sing, okay? Like they didn't practice at all. They're like, hey, you want to sing the song?
You could tell that her mom was so proud.
Yeah,
it was adorable.
Oh my God, I haven't been on stage in like 30 years.
It was cool.
Well, I'm gonna play a little feature and probably play a little bit of music, and we'll come back to you after a few songs. Enjoy.
You're listening to 93.3
or don't.
WMSC Upper Montclair News.
Jersey, one, Jersey, one, Jersey, one, Jersey, one, Jersey, one.
Well, Daft Punk is playing at my house, my house. I'll show you the ropes, kid, show you the ropes. I got a bus and a trailer at my house, my house. I'll show you the ropes, kid, show you the ropes. I bought 15 cases for my house, my house. All the furniture is in the garage. Well, Daft Punk is playing in my house, my house. You got to set them up, kid. Set them up. Well, Daft Punk is playing in my house, my house. I've waited 7 years and 15 days. There's every kid for miles in my house, my house. All the neighbors can't call the police. All the fist fight brewing in my house, my house. Cause the jocks can't get in the door. When Daft Punk is playing in my house, my house. There's a freak out brewing in my house, my house. You got to set them up, set them up. You got to set them up, set them up. Well, everybody's lined up in my house, my house. And Sarah's girlfriend is working the door. Got everybody's PA in my house, my house. All the robots they sing from the bus. Everybody's lined up in my house, my house. Cause Daft Punk is playing in my house, my house. Solo! Set them up, set them up. You got to set them up, yeah. You got to set them up, yeah. You got to set them up, set them up. And never, never let them go. No, never, never, never let them go. Never, never, never let them go. Let them go. show you the ropes.
Hey WMSC listeners, this is entertainment correspondent Julia Siegel coming to you from the Montclair Film Festival. I just saw the Sundance breakout hit Patty Cakes and loved it, and I'm discussing the film with director Jeremy Jasper. Here's what he had to say about his first feature-length film. I just saw Patty Cakes, absolutely loved it, and I love the fact that you had an unlikely group of characters coming together and putting together some awesome music. What was the inspiration behind both the group and the music?
The group was because I was interested in some sort of misfit gang that maybe represented all my different loves and my different facets, and how you can kind of put them together to be some sort of super group of people you wouldn't expect. The music was a combination of just things that I love, guitars and hip hop and X-rated lyrics and swagger and humanity and all that stuff.
So did you combine your love of music and film for this movie? Is that essentially what it was?
That's exactly what it was. Yep. it was the perfect marriage for me.
Do you think you'd like to do another movie that kind of combines those?
I think so. Yeah, it would be a completely different genre because I like a lot of different kinds of music and a lot of different kinds of films. But yeah, I'd like to use music in another film for sure.
And also, as a New Jersey native and being here in Montclair to show the film in New Jersey before it comes out, what's it like to be able to show it to the New Jersey audience? And then as a filmmaker, do you feel compelled to have New Jersey stories be a part of your filmmaking?
No. I mean, for this one, sure, because it was about growing up and a big chunk of my life. But I don't think the next one will be about New Jersey. People have sent me scripts that are about New Jersey. I'm like, all right, I've had enough. You know, it took me so many years to get out. Then I came back, and now I'm out for good. Sorry, guys.
But is it a nice homecoming at least?
Of course. This is where my family lives. I come out here almost every weekend. I mean, not Montclair, but New Jersey. It's a huge part of my life. Yeah.
Patty Cakes will hit theaters on July 7th. For WMSC, this is Julia Siegel.
Looking for the real MSU Redhawks experience all year long? Look no further. WMSC has all your Redhawks information, ranging from live play-by-plays, news updates, recaps, and more. Never miss out on the Redhawks with 90.3 WMSC. Let's go, Redhawks!
do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. More than power, never. Ever after work is over. Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour, work it never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Never over. Work it, make it better, do it faster, makes it stronger. All that ever power. Work is never over. Work it, make it better, do it faster, makes it stronger. All that ever power. Work is never over. Work it faster, makes it stronger. All that ever power. Work it never over. Work it harder, do it faster.
Hey Montclair, I'm Melissa Cheeseman, host of Out of Sound, Out of Mind. If alternative and indie music is your vibe, look no further, my show's the one for you. Check it out Thursdays, 4 to 7 here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
What is up, everybody? This is Oddball Frequency, your number one source for a waste of time. Pizza, water bottles, good water, and I guess the news. Dan, you want to say the news?
Yeah, so Martin Shkreli was recently jailed for his Facebook post defaming Hillary Clinton, and also for, you know, all the other all the other illegal things he did, you know, like jacking up the price of the medicine from $11 to $737.
I guess
which
that's
was considered price gouging by the government. So yeah. Yeah, he's not a good person, and he's going to jail for it.
Cool. As for the weather, we're pretty much going to be seeing cloudy for the rest of the night up until Friday, actually. It rained a lot earlier for a short amount of time, around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but tomorrow's actually we're going to be seeing more rain. It's going to be ranging from thunderstorms to just clouds all day tomorrow. But after that, it's actually supposed to be pretty sunny / cloudy throughout the week up until next Friday. And as far as temperature goes, it's pretty much just going to be like today. It's going to be either low 80s or high 70s. We're done with the hot weather, but the warm weather is here to stay. So I guess we could wrap up the night by just talking more about some of the shows we're going to see. By the way, shout out to my boy Rico.
Enrique!
Yeah.
Our favorite man named Enrique from what town are you from?
Wyoming.
Where are you from again?
I don't know. somewhere.
New Jersey. Our favorite man named Enrique from New Jersey.
New Jersey. But yeah, I don't know. We could probably just talk about some albums that we've been getting into lately. Electronic, I actually haven't been listening. I've been trying, man. I've been trying to get into a lot of electronic artists. Nothing's just hit gold for me. I've just been listening to older artists. Lately, I've been getting into this one band, Stereolab. They're awesome. They're this kind of shoegaze / dream pop band from the early 90s. They're really cool. I recommend them if you like. Really,
they made Loveless.
They kind of sound. I mean, they're shoegaze, which is bleh. I don't know.
Get wrecked, Phil.
Any bands, albums you've been getting into lately?
I don't really do albums that often, but as I said before, have been getting into Mala, M-A-L-A, Rez, again, Romare, not too recently, more like the past few months, and yeah, those are the main three as of like completely recently, but also there's like a few songs from a bunch of different people recently. Also, Roosevelt, which really was only in like August, I think that's when I first heard his music, so it's only been like not too long, but I really like Roosevelt, and yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've been trying to get into... This summer was big for me getting into new albums. Thanks to Spotify and thanks to my internship at PRG, because like I would just do these mundane, repetitive tasks all day. So I needed music and podcasts to keep me entertained, and thank God I got into podcasts. Specifically Schmucks, the H3H3 podcast, the Needle Drop podcast. Those three saved me. And I still listen to them every once in a while. And of course, I would get into new albums. Like, I would just listen to nonstop new albums in full that either Spotify would recommend me. I'd go on Facebook and just ask people, hey, give me something to listen to. I would just post, give me an album to listen to. And I would get a lot of responses. And I got into a lot of new music like that. It was pretty cool. You mainly get into music through Pandora recommendations and stuff
Pandora,
like that?
If something comes up on YouTube. Every now and then, if an album art looks decent on the
album
Needle
art
Drop,
can win me over.
On the Needle Drop,
the Needle Drop.
If I see album art that looks decent, then I'll look into it. I'll just look to see if it's anything I'd like. Mainly just Pandora, people's recommendations. I have like a Discord server of my own, and people like recommend music or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of friends online that recommend music every now and then, but really, Pandora and just recommendations on YouTube.
Yeah, recommendations are a big thing. What was I gonna say? Yeah, album art can single-handedly win me over. That's why I take album art not for granted at all.
I mean, vinyl collectors.
Yeah, vinyl collectors. You and I. That's a big part why we collect it. It's just so nice. Just have it there.
It's big.
This big
it's
12 by 12 heavy 180
It's nice
gram.
that it's heavy, but then when you have more than like two, then it's like, oh god.
Yeah, right.
Like when you're trying to start moving, like when we moved all of your stuff into for Vinylthon.
Yeah, that was a pain.
You guys were dying before I got them.
That was a pain. Yeah, we did Vinylthon at WMSC in April, I think
Montclair.
it was. Montclair.
New Jersey. Montclair State University.
Earth. Milky Way.
One normal avenue.
What universe is this?
I think it's it's a 37.
37 Captain Crunch universe.
No. It's a 37B.
37B. My bad.
Because 37A is the one I think they're in right now.
I could have sworn we were in C. What do I know? What are we talking about?
Music.
Yeah, music, I guess. No, but I was just talking about. Oh yeah, album arts and
album
vinyl.
Art. Vinyl.
Yeah, collecting vinyl has been I've been happy I've been getting into it. It's an expensive hobby. My last buy was it was actually a kind of a mistake that happened at FYE regarding pricing. So the soundtrack for Star Wars Episode 7 it had an error with the pricing, and my boss kind of told me about it because my boss just doesn't care.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like, hey, by the way, this album that's normally $50, it's $15 today.
What?
Yeah, so
dude, that's crazy.
He doesn't even buy vinyl, and he bought a copy. I'm like, obviously.
Could I buy it from him for
I bought the
$16?
I bought the last one.
I'll buy it from him.
Buy it from him.
I'll buy it from him for $15.01.
Do I see a flipper over here?
Roasted.
Roasted.
No, but yeah, actually, soon. Well, my Ocarina of Time soundtrack just shipped.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually. I am 8-bit. Can we just?
Yeah, I am 8-bit.
Major shout out to I am 8-bit.
If you like games like old, like indie games and like old games, then go check out iam8bit.com. That's not sponsored. You know, we're so popular, right? But I am 8-bit. They have a lot of good soundtracks, and also I spent $100 on the Cuphead soundtrack.
I told
vinyl.
him about it, and he bought it like a minute after I told him.
You send it to me. I'm like, what is I am 8-bit? I just go to it, and I'm like, hey, Danny, I'm $100 poorer.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Fam.
Thanks, fam squad.
Literally, like
fire emoji.
The only one ever kill us. The only one I ever bought was the Undertale soundtrack, which is great. It comes with like, if anyone's played the game, you might remember the crossword puzzle that you find in Snowden. You get an actual physical copy of that crossword puzzle.
I got the Undertale one.
Yeah.
The Ocarina of Time one's coming. The Cuphead is coming.
Cuphead, yeah, when it comes out.
And then I think there was another one. Oh, I got Ori and the Blind Forest from there.
Yeah. I love the disc. The disc is beautiful for that.
Yeah.
I really want to get the Pokemon one, the Gold and Silver, mainly because the Gold and Silver soundtrack is like one of my favorite, video game soundtracks of all time, and they're doing an orchestral recreation of all the best songs, and they released some of the MP3s of some of the songs, and they sound great.
I mean, it was good even on the 8-bit hardware.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even minded if it was just an 8-bit rip, which is that would have been fine. But
it was good back then. It's still good today.
Yeah, totally. They could have done the Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver. You could either have it as the orchestral, or you could also. There's an option to put it to 8-bit, which is cool.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I want to do that though. That's awesome.
Yeah, Heart Gold and Soul Silver have an option, so you can have the old 8-bit version.
You heard it here, folks.
This is breaking news, exclusive from Nintendo.
Exclusive
Nintendo gave us $10 billion to tell you all.
Oddball frequency. This just in. Oh my god. We have about like 7 minutes left. We could probably play this song and then the next song. What do I want to play as the last song? I guess Japan Nick isn't coming. I guess we're just gonna put it on alt rock autopilot for a little bit. Yeah, that's alright.
I mean, do you by chance have anything off of Homework?
I have Around the World, but I did just play Daft Punk. What can we play?
The Beatles.
Just electronic.
They're
music.
they're electronic because you're listening to it through electronics.
Do they have any? I know. Do you know the song "Intimate Secretary"? I think it was called. No, "Temporary Secretary." It's deemed as like one of Paul McCartney's worst songs ever.
Is it electronic though?
It's an electronic song, and it's off of the very first album that he made after leaving the Beatles in like the early '80s, I think, or mid '70s. I don't remember. And it has this annoying electronic loop that just constantly plays over and over in the background.
I mean, you could play some like Wazo or like Justice.
Yeah.
Speaking of
is
Justice, we'll play more of it.
I got some Wazo. I'll wrap it up with that.
You could wrap it up with Aphex Twin.
I don't got any of them. But yeah, we're talking about vinyl, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
speaking of vinyl, I got. So the first vinyl I got was at the Bonobo concert.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that what kind of like?
I just got the only reason because I saw it and it looked really nice, which
it's
still
good.
like one of my favorite. Like
it's
honestly,
a really good album cover.
And also, if it didn't have the downloads in there and like all the cool stuff in it, I probably wouldn't have gotten any other vinyl. But like the Bonobo one was like so nice. I was like, hey, I guess I can get some more of this. But I have like all of Daft Punk's non like singles.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of I've just been getting a bunch. I mean, I went from having like 5 by the end of this last semester to like now I think I'm at like 30.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just hit the point. You've seen my record shelf, right?
Yeah.
In the basement. I just hit a point where I need to start filling up a second shelf, and I don't.
Well, like a third box, basically.
A third box, yeah. And it's really weird because I don't have any room, so I need to shift around some of my CDs, and I don't even care about that. What I care about is the fact that there's just going to be a big empty box with like one record, And I'm just gonna slowly be like filling that up over the course of the next however amount of time.
I also had all my vinyls just stacked on top of each other.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
Let me finish.
Okay.
So
sorry,
I got.
I just don't do that.
I say one word and he just freaks out. No, but and then so then I put it on the side, but then I was like, okay, I was just getting so many. I'm like, I hit the point where I had like 10. I'm like, okay, I really just need to get like a box. So I had this little box that has this little like ring at the bottom where you can just have them like kind of propped up, so it's like easy to like flip through them. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It fits about like 50, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a small little box.
It's pretty good.
You had to assemble itself, kind of like IKEA. It's just some random thing I got on
fun.
Amazon for like I think $20. It was nice.
But you stack them vertically.
I only have one right now. But yeah, you can.
No, the records.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because if you
I took them out and then I also broke the discs and I ripped all the
I
paper
lit
up.
them on fire.
Yeah. I only
Fed
buy
them to
it so
my
I can
cat.
break it and then be like, who listens to vinyl? It's 2017.
Up with anarchy. Yeah.
Where are my AND caps at?
I don't even know what that is.
I know you don't.
I know. Okay. Oh my god. We got a couple minutes left. If you've tuned in for tonight, thank you so much for listening. I think we're just gonna wrap it up by letting this song play out, and then right after I'm gonna
This
play.
song is awesome.
Oh, it's a good song. I'll turn it up a little bit.
C-Cam by Mr. Wazzo.
Yeah, this is off Ed Banger's 10th
Volume
anniversary
10.
album.
Yeah, well, not Volume 10, but yeah.
Volume 10.
Oh yeah, is it? Oh, okay.
It's called Ed Rec Volume 10.
Yeah.
And Ed Rec is it's a record company that only hosts French house music, and I got to see a compilation live tour that Ed Rec did with Justice.
Mr. Wazzo.
No, he wasn't there.
Really?
It was
Oh,
Busy
wow.
P, Justice, and Breakbot, and they played in New York and it was awesome. And the album just came out. They were kind of promoting it, and I managed to buy a vinyl copy, and it was like a couple days after it came out, and it's really cool. It's a nice compilation of basically what Ed Rec does is every few years they have a volume album where they ask everybody who's on the album, most people who are just a part of the record company, to make one new song. And this was Mr. Wazzo's, and it's like one of my favorite songs by him.
Yeah,
I thought
it's my favorite by him.
It's probably my
actually.
favorite song of the album. It's really good. This is your favorite song by him?
Yeah, it's just so good.
I think.
I mean, I really like Post-it.
Post-Teeth is up there.
That's like a second, but like, or the one off the new album, the Horses or whatever, Seahorses. That's also a really good one.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really like. Also, like Ed Banger has like a lot of good musicians. Also, two other labels, just because we're kind of on the topic of labels.
No, totally.
Another one that's really good is Anjuna Deep. They mainly have like people who do like weird like trancey house and like ambient music and like just like housey music.
Who is it?
Anjuna Deep. That's the name of the label. They like there's like a lot of.
I want to try and get into more record labels because I've been following a certain few, like Modular.
Yeah, Anjuna Deep. Pretty much everything I've heard from them have been like really good musicians, and then also Ninja Tune, which has Romero and Bonobo.
Yeah,
and a few others that are also really good. So, just a couple recommendations for people who might want to look into like labels.
Yeah, and then you get certain bands which pretty much make their own record label, like Deadmau5 had Mousetrap.
He still has it, which also actually like he's been getting a lot of good people like Rez and like a bunch of other, and also he has Feed Me, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people on Mousetrap actually.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, and Death Grips actually has their own now. I think it's called Third Worlds. Third Worlds has been the name of their website for a long time.
I heard that they have music from Death Grips.
You'd be wrong. I think we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. I am going to let Living iPod play by Savant. This is actually Weight Off by Kate Tronada. I pretty much use this for the intro and the outro of the song of my show. Blah. Yeah, tonight was really fun. I felt like we had some good conversations, played some good music, and we'll actually be here next week from 7 to 10 p.m. Wednesday on WMSCradio.com or 90.3 FM. Although we do recommend checking out the website because our radio station signal ain't so good. You could barely hear it on campus.
And also, it's perfect if you go online. So I mean,
yeah, it
doesn't matter where you are.
Well, it's top of the hour at WMSC FM. I'm going to play Living iPod by Savant, and the radio station will take it from there.
See you guys.
Enjoy, people.